Welcome back to North of the Broad. With me now is Jonathan Haupt. He is, of course, with the Pat Conroy Literary Center, where we are in this beautiful room. And we are going to talk about the festival, the ninth annual, coming up. Tell us about it.
Our 9th annual Pat Conroy Literary Festival, which is the Conroy Center's big, huge signature event.
Yeah.
And this is really special to us because this began when Pat was still around. This was originally Pat's 70th birthday party.
I love that.
And it's something that he blessed continuing on. So this is a big part of his legacy.
Yeah.
It's become a way to really shine the spotlight that was always on Pat on a much, much wider group of authors, many of whom knew Pat and had some connection to him, as is the case this year, but some are brand new to our community as well.
Yeah, that's cool. So when is this year's festival?
It is November 1st and 2nd, so first weekend in November, Friday and Saturday. The Conroy Center will be open to the public on Thursday and Sunday before, so folks arriving early or leaving late also have a chance to come see us. In addition to that, the festival really kind of takes place in two locations in Beaufort. Here in the Conroy Center, where we have our writing workshops and our tours and sort of the small scale things. But for something on this scale, we need to take over the USC Beaufort Center for the Arts, 460 beautiful seats in that auditorium.
That's a great location. It's a very cool spot.
It's such a gem for Beaufort to have.
Yeah.
And it's a space that was really special to Pat, too. So it's nice to be there every year for the festival.
So tell us a little bit about the events of the festival, because I know there are things that have been here year after year after year.
Sure.
But then there's maybe some new things this year as well.
Absolutely. So the festival is a collection of both free and ticketed events, and we try to make as many things free as we possibly can. That's our gift to the community. And this year we seem to have an abundance of New York Times bestselling authors for audiences of all ages. I know.
How about that?
It's a really nice way to use the center and Pat Conroy's legacy to bring some really amazing folks to Beaufort. So there will be sort of hour-long author conversations going on throughout the weekend with folks like Kwame Alexander, who's probably best known for the crossover books, which are adapted for a Disney TV series. And he has some new middle grade books out that he'll be talking about. Raj Haldar, who's a New York Times bestselling children's book author. And strangely enough, also the rapper Lushlife. That's the other half of his career.
I read that in your questionnaire. I was like, well, that's kind of an interesting thing.
He's amazing. He's been a really good friend to the Conroy Center. So he did a silly little alphabet book about silent letters called P is for Pterodactyl, and a more recent book called This Book is Banned. And then Kirsten Miller, who is also a young adult and adult author, most recently for a book called Lulu Dean's Little Library of Banned Books, and a menopause thriller called The Change. That's her other big recent hit. So when I say books for all ages,
absolutely.
Yes, we're absolutely covering that. And it wouldn't be a Conroy Festival without some Conroys. So Cassandra King Conroy, Pat's widow, is moderating a panel discussion with some female authors, all of whom are mystery novels connected to the Low Country, mystery novelists, connected to the Low Country in some way. Pat's younger brother, Tim Conroy, is teaching a poetry workshop in this very room. Pat's Beaufort High School student, Valerie Sayers, is also teaching one of our workshops. And his Citadel roommate, John Worley, is going to teach a workshop called How Not to Be Published, which I think is a hilarious opportunity for writers to learn maybe some cautionary tales.
Right. Very interesting. And what a diverse group of people. And I love that you have you always had that segment for young adults? Because that's, I think, really important.
Really expanded greatly this year. That's a focus that the Conroy Center has been more intentional about, and we really want to honor that with the festival. So it truly is a family-friendly festival this year. Most of the programs for young readers and their families are happening on Saturday when school's not in session, and they're, for the most part, free. I think in every case, they're free this year also.
Excellent.
And then we have two big anchor events on Friday and Saturday night. Friday night at USCB, we're screening a film called Band Together about student activists and advocates and librarians who responded to censorship. Much of that story actually takes place right here in Beaufort. And then Saturday night, we wrap up the festival here at the center and at the Witness Tree Park, which is right across the street from us, with a performance from the Beaufort Mass Choir, which is always an amazing thing to see in person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is just so much going on that weekend. How do people find out what the schedule is, get their tickets, and make their plans?
Absolutely. So they can go to our website, patconroyliterarycenter.org. The festival also has a website. They all end up back at the same place, and folks can sign up in advance for free or ticketed events. For events that do not sell out by day of, you can also just show up at the festival and register as well. That's something we started offering maybe 2 years ago because Beaufort is such a show up at the last minute kind of town, and we really want to honor that. But people typically come to the festival from as many as 20 states. So even if you're the sort of person here in Beaufort who goes to every single festival, and we certainly have a lot of them, you will also meet people who are from elsewhere too.
Yeah.
That's just the
Well, of course.
welcoming circle of Pat.
And Pat had a big reach. So
Yes.
Jonathan, thank you for sharing today about this wonderful festival. I'm sure it's going to be a smashing success. And thank you also for allowing us to film in your beautiful center.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Betsy.
And thank you for being with us on North of the Broad, and we'll see you again next time.